Hi, everybody. You got John and Jamie in the studio for the Pod Bay Door. Welcome. Thank you for downloading and connecting to us. Hi to our friends over there at CWOdesigns.com. Check those guys out, especially for your holiday shopping and all of your decor needs. They do some fantastic woodworking and photography. It's CWOdesigns.com. The big announcement for today is that John and I are going to go on a little bit of hiatus for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. Today's episode it's coming out today, obviously, but the next one the new episode will come out on December 3rd. So a couple of weeks break there. So everybody if you celebrated, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we will be back for a new episode on December 3rd. As promised last week, John and I have collaborated of sorts, and we've written down basically what it is when you're a concierge at a hotel, you are barraged with questions of everything from where's the bathroom to shows to restaurants to problems. What are these called? Challenges. Challenges. Yes.
But they were problems.
They were problems for us, challenges for other people. But oftentimes people were either misinformed, didn't understand, or just generally were not savvy enough to remember or pronounce or ask for something correctly. It wasn't their fault necessarily.
No.
But many times we were given a chuckle, a smirk on our face, or just a out-and-out smile and a laugh because people pretty much butchered what was going on in town, and we had to interpret what they were saying. Now, because John dealt with a lot of Japanese guests, we're not going to deal with foreign language stuff because I'm sure they've destroyed it.
Yeah, I can do a whole show on just things that I screwed up when I lived in Japan.
Yes.
Words that were really close. I thought, wait a minute, is that how you say? Is it? Oh yeah, I think that's the word. And then when I say something and people give me that blank stare,
right?
When I wanted to say to someone, "Oh, hey, you shaved your mustache," which is the word hige is actually beard, but you can extend a mustache. And I couldn't quite remember hikoki. You shaved your hikoki. You shaved your airplane. Well, it's kind of shaped like it, right? I mean,
yes, exactly. But these will be remembered mistakes in English over a very long period of time at the desk. But it gave us pause, it gave us humor, and it made the 8 hours or 10 hours, just a little bit nicer to go through. Yeah. Oftentimes we got in trouble for laughing, but whatever. You know,
some of these things that surprised me is some of these we heard a lot. It isn't like it happened once. In language and in linguistics, they call it. There's a spoonerism. Usually, when you transpose two sounds from two adjacent words. So, for example, instead of saying right wing, they say white ring.
Yes.
Right. That's a spoonerism.
Yeah.
There's also what they call a metathesis, is when they transpose a sound within the same word. Sometimes it just it's just a mispronunciation, like he prescribed it instead of prescribe.
Yes.
Or the famous one of nuclear instead of nuclear. Those are there was Leo Gorcey, who was an actor. I don't know if this goes back to the Bowery Boys, these movies from the 40s.
I know him with my head hung low. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old timers, but that was part of the humor that he would have. He would often, of course it's deliberate, use metathesis in that, where he would say to the woman he's trying to flirt with her, and he's just tough. He goes, well, if I can be of any resistance.
Right.
Instead of assistance. So things like that, which are fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And these that I've included, and I believe John too, these are just ones that were just out and out wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of foreign language involved in Las Vegas because we copy everything.
Yeah.
And so the emphasis is not something I put on the list.
Yeah.
My mom used to say the emphasis was on the wrong syllable.
Yes.
So there's a lot of that, but we didn't put that on the list.
Yeah.
So I will start us off, John.
Okay.
There was Melissa First Lady of
Oh,
Magic.
Melissa.
Yes, and of course that was Melinda, First Lady of Magic, who had a brief tenure at the Venetian.
Yes.
She was a lovely young lady.
She had started out as an assistant to Lance Burton.
Yes.
Then married the guy. Then divorced him and basically, ran with his ideas.
Yes. Yes. But it's Melinda, not Melissa, First Lady of Magic. The next one for a brief time while John and I were working at the Venetian, and then they returned. I believe they're still there. The Blue Man Group was just generally the blue guys.
Yeah.
It was just blue, anything blue.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned, of course, Lance Burton.
Yeah.
I remember very clearly a gentleman coming up and asking me for Burt Lantzman.
Oh, yeah. There's a perfect spoonerism right there.
Spoonerism.
Yeah.
Burt Lantzman. Yeah. And I remember that one specifically. There was a new administration at our desk at the time, and I don't know how or why it was brought about that I chuckled, which I did because it's funny.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble. I got in trouble, John,
now,
because
I can understand if somebody said Burt Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster,
But really, who came over there and it scolded you for that?
It was a front desk hotel manager who essentially wasn't in charge of our desk. Not really. I mean, they were kind of a lateral position. But yes, it somehow got over there. That I know it's funny. It's not Lance Burton. It's Burt Lantzman. But next on the list is our favorite. We've mentioned them quite often. Siegfried and Roy, very famous magicians.
Yeah, I can understand how so many people got their names mixed up.
Wrong. And of course, Roy was attacked by his. Not really attacked. I totally believe that he was not attacked. I think the cat thought there was danger, was going to protect him, and because it's a giant cat, it hurt him terribly. But Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll let you do.
The one I got the most often, and I got it almost on a daily basis, was Sigmund and Freud.
Sigmund, which I that one confounds me.
Yeah, I thought about it a lot, and then I started thinking about it. Well, Sigmund Freud and Siegfried and Roy are from the same general area of the world, right? I mean, Germany and Austria. There's the difference in the name of Siegfried and Sigmund. They have the same initial sound. They have the same ending sound. It's the medial.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different. When you say Siegfried and Roy, Sigmund Freud, but still, they would have to know that, wait a minute, Sigmund Freud is one guy. These are two different guys.
I think even the most, well, an undereducated individual has heard of Sigmund Freud.
Yes.
Maybe not Siegfried and Roy. I don't know. I mean, Vegas everybody's enamored with Vegas, but the other one, Siegfried and Richard.
Yes. Roy always got. He was one who got shamed.
And then I got one that I remember. I actually wrote this one down. And I, like you said, I'm always confounded by the number of times I received it.
Yeah.
The question: the long-haired guys and the white cats.
Okay.
The white cats.
Yeah.
Not lions, not tigers, just cats. White cats.
Now I had a guy one time ask for Siegfried and Roy. Now I thought that was unusual because I thought he must have read this instead of hearing it, right? Sigmund and Freud, Siegfried and Roy. That's auditory.
Yes.
But if you read it, if it's French Canadian, Roy is pronounced Roy. Yeah. But these are two German guys, so it wouldn't be pronounced that way, and you would never have heard it and misheard it that way.
And somehow Patrick's brother was a magician.
Yes, that's right. Patrick's brother when he took the mask off, the goalie mask. I also got Gunter Gables. That's the one that I was on the phone, fortunately, because I had to set the phone down. I rolled practically on the floor. If you don't know, Gunter Gables was the lion tamer in the circus, Ringling Brothers Circus. He was famous for that.
I have a poster with his name on it.
Yeah, and he had the blonde hair, and the guy just on the phone says, "Yeah, I want tickets for that." The Gunter Gables. So, and I thought, oh, geez, at least I knew who Gunter Gables was.
Yeah.
So I was able to make that association. I said, the magician Siegfried and Roy. Yeah.
See, once again, they were smart to have older people because we know we can work down exactly what they meant.
Yeah.
Sticking with magicians.
Yeah.
I remember Rich Thompson and the Black Tigers.
Instead of Rick Thomas.
Rick Thomas, and of course Rick Thomas.
He also had white tigers.
Well, no, he didn't have black tigers at all.
No, he didn't have any black tigers.
Nobody
has
black tigers. Yes, black, leopards.
Yeah,
but rare to see those because they're so unpredictable.
I actually saw him in the parking lot one time here in Las Vegas, and he had the cats with him. And they were in the flatbed truck in the back in cages. Yeah. It's not every day you see that.
And that's something to see in Vegas for sure. Yeah. But it's Rick Thomas, and Rick Thomas was a second tier in Las Vegas magician. He was good. He was fun.
Yeah, he'd been a song and dance man at one time.
Oh, okay.
He told me that. Yeah, he's a real tall guy. He's like 6'8" or something.
Yeah. But he had a solid, following here, and he was a very respected person.
And he still performs. Usually around Christmas time, he did a daytime show at the Trop.
Oh, the Trop.
Back then, yeah. And it's a good show. I mean, I saw it, and I know that also I happened to see that Lance is going to do a show around Christmas.
I saw that.
Or Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, it's around Thanksgiving.
I thought it was Christmas.
I think it's at the Orleans.
Okay, that's interesting. Sticking with shows, and we have a couple of discussions here at the Bellagio. It became one of our most hated shows because it was very difficult to get tickets. And it's the show and it's a Cirque du Soleil performance. And for the longest time I would get Splash at the Bellagio.
That was a second-rate show or third-rate show at the Riviera too, wasn't it?
Correct. Yes. Now again, Splash it's what was at the Riviera, along with Crazy Girls, a very famous show over there, burlesque style. But Splash was a variety show, and it also involved a small pool, whereas involved a giant pool. The entire show was based
Splash
around...
was topless too, wasn't it?
The Late Show was topless.
The Late Show was topless, so there was bare boobies.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, the only reason to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, Splash at the Bellagio, I got a lot. Now, also at the Bellagio, we dealt with wet seats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And wet seat, and that was the most coveted seat for most. And all it meant was that you were sitting relatively close to the stage, or the pool in this case, and little droplets of water would come up, and the clowns and the Cirque du Soleil performers would spit at you. Not spit, but I mean they would throw water at you. And you wouldn't get, it's not like Shamu.
No, it's not like it's not like that Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios where we got like a bucket of water on our heads.
And yet people had to have these. The VIPs that we dealt with, they insisted upon the wet. I want wet seats for all, and therefore the wet seats became, with our ticket. We'll call them brokers. Yeah. Ticket brokers. I mean, they would charge triple, quadruple the price for these seats.
$250 or some $300.
And honestly, they were too close. And you got a little wet.
If you want to see the show, you're better off by the back.
But that it is not Splash. It is Now, sticking with Cirque du Soleil, we had the most popular show, still in my opinion, is Mystère.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah, and the two I got from Mystère, and of course Cirque du Soleil is primarily French, in theme and in pronunciation. But we got Mystery. Yeah, Mystery was a big one. Mr. Ray.
I got that.
They made a valiant effort with Mr. Ray.
Now, one thing about one time I had somebody ask me for We.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think what it was, if you remember the ad back then, I may haven't even changed it. It had a big letter O, and it had a guy with like a paddle on the water underneath it. And I think maybe people mistook that for you and an I or something like that. Like maybe it was.
See, anytime you say that, I think of the Dirty Magazine.
Yeah, that's what I would think of. Well, we got what's on.
Yeah.
I don't have We.
All right, now that we're going to rip through my list, and then John, you throw in what you got there.
All right.
We're going to go to restaurants for a bit.
Yeah.
These are in no particular order, but a lot of them are at the Venetian because that's where we were the most. We had a lovely restaurant called Canaletto, which the bastardized version was Cannellonis.
Oh yes,
got Cannellonis every time.
Yeah,
and you get to the point where it's not funny anymore. You just book it.
Yeah,
and most of the time. I would say that they went there thinking it was cannelloni, asking for cannellonis, thought it was cannellonis, and left knowing it was cannellonis. So I never corrected them.
Yeah.
Next, we had we had the restaurant by Wolfman Puck.
Oh yeah, oh, that's good. Yeah,
yeah. That was another one that was a laugh out loud.
Yes.
And the restaurant of which they spoke was Postrio, which of course I got a table for two at Posterior.
Yeah.
Wolfman Puck's Posterior.
Yeah.
That one gave me a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one was good. Wolfman Puck. I hadn't heard that one.
We had an extremely high-end restaurant. In fact, I'll mention the one at the Bellagio first, Le Cirque.
Yeah.
Everybody that knows restaurants knows Le Cirque out of New York. I would often field questions about the circus, which
translates.
It translates, but it's still Le Cirque. We had a comparable restaurant called Lutece.
Yeah.
And I invariably got Luteke.
Yeah.
Because it's how it's spelled. I mean, Lutece. I don't know how people go that way, but it's Luteke. This is the only one downtown that I ever got that was ripped up. It was Hugo's. Hugo's is a wonderful restaurant. Yes,
we talked about it before.
In the Four Queens. Yeah. Still there. If you guys ever get a chance, go to Hugo's.
Old-fashioned.
Oh, my gosh. Old-fashioned.
Hugo's Cellar.
Yeah, Hugo's Cellar. And I got the Hunchbacks.
Oh, Victor Hugo. Hey, that's an interesting one.
Yes, I got the Hunchbacks, which didn't elicit a laugh. I had to work that one out.
Yeah.
I was like, the Hunchbacks. It was kind of, it was amazing. Now, going to nightclubs. Oh, actually, one more restaurant. Smith and Walensky.
Yeah.
Of course.
Smith and Jones?
No, Smith and Lewinsky.
Oh.
Yes.
Like Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, Monica sold the dress and opened a restaurant. And so going back, okay, now nightclubs, way too many of them to mention, but the one that got me, I actually didn't have to ask my colleagues. I confided in you guys a lot and asked, we helped each other out. It was a great time. But one where I had no idea what the person was talking about, I just didn't see it. They asked for the airport. I want to go to the airport tonight. And I'm booking them. I said, well, you can take a cab, you can take a limousine and everything else. And they were absolutely not talking about the airport where airplanes fly out. They were talking about LAX at Luxor.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it became a problem because I was pushing forward with getting him transportation to the airport.
Yeah.
And he was getting more and more, he was looking strangely at me, and then he was getting upset. I don't want to go to the airport. Well, you just said you want to go to the airport. And next we had a club, of course. This was a simple mistake. It was a terrible name for the club. It was a terrible club. C2K, of course, was Y2K.
Yeah.
And then to round off my list, at the Venetian, of course, we've talked about this a lot. The gondolas, or gondola, or gondolas, But John and I were asked for where is the log ride?
Yeah, the flume. Yeah.
And where are the rowboats?
The rowboats.
Yeah, as you're going to row
and the river. I got the river.
The river and the moat.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. Where is the moat? And I just said, and it's interesting about the moat to me because a moat it's an exterior structure. And it's not moats aren't winding. It's usually just round. And then lastly, of course, our job alone, concierge.
Yeah.
And it is concierge. It's not concierge, although people can't.
That's a little more. That was too pretentious.
That was a little pretentious. But concierge and plural is concierges. But we the most often it was concierge. And they were making every attempt. They were silencing the G, thinking that was the French pronunciation. So there's my list, John.
Yeah, all right.
What do you think?
That's good. Another one for the restaurant. You remember? It really vile was the pimpled moose. For la pamplemousse.
Pamplemousse, yes.
The grapefruit.
The grapefruit.
Yes, and they got the pimpled
moose.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very appetizing. Yes. If I'm going to name a restaurant, what do I name it?
Serving all of the game animals.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Well, as you know, when we worked there early on, there was a show at New York. Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance, which was the Irish step dance.
Yes,
it was a good show. I mean, if you like that,
I did like it and I enjoyed it.
Yes, yeah. I got requests for Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Yeah, and I thought, okay. Well, you have to remember also, this was at a time when I believe the third movie was coming out in the theater. Well, I don't know if they want tickets to go to the movie theater to see it. Yeah. But no, I remember it was I said, you mean Lord of the Yeah. It was Lord of the Dance. So I got Lord of the Rings, got Lord of the Flies. And yeah, that was the other one they knew it was a Lord of something. Right. But at least they'd heard of these things, they
were trying.
They were trying. I remember one time, though, a woman asked me, because as you know, we had characters, right? People in dress, with the Venetian masks, which are reminiscent of the Renaissance and really the plague years, because people had thought they didn't know what was causing plague. They thought it was foul air. So that was hence the reason for the masks. They actually had like cotton and a filter there. It kind of made sense for airborne. If it were airborne, it wasn't, as they later found out. But nevertheless, that's why they wore the mask. Well, they had characters, and a woman asked me, and she pointed at one of the female characters, goes, "Is that Marie Antoinette?" Yeah. And I thought, well, it's the wrong country,
right? Yeah.
and you're off by about 200 years. But come on, just Marie Antoinette,
get in there, take your cuts.
She's got her head on.
Yeah.
Also, I had somebody ask me where the ducks were at.
The ducks
instead of the pigeons.
Oh yes,
we had, if you remember, very short-lived. It was really lame, but from the Campanile Tower, I think it was outside.
The reproduction.
They flew trained homing pigeons or something. They flew.
Well, we called them doves.
Yes,
but they were pigeons.
They were pigeons because of course, what you find in St. Mark's Square. The pigeons, they didn't want them actually indoors.
No.
But I did have people looking in the casino. We were waiting for the show, and it didn't happen. Well, it's not indoors. It's not in the casino. No, just think about it. If there's one thing that a pigeon is really good at, it's taking a dump, right? Yeah. Can you imagine that all over there? The felt on the crap tables, and just quite literally, it would be a crap table.
Nice.
And on the customers and the gamblers and everything like that. There's a big.
See, oftentimes birds make it in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you grew up with this. I think this is more geographic, but I grew up. It was very, very bad luck. Yeah. And is a death omen to have a bird in a house, in a structure. Yeah. And I would have people come up and tell me, quite frantically, there's a bird in the casino. And I knew it. A lot of our colleagues didn't know that superstition. So but the pigeons.
Yeah.
What did that last 6 months?
It didn't last very long. Yeah. They wanted to see the pigeon, but this one was ducks. So I thought, well, it's a bird. But I can't affiliate those with Venice. And again, the idea that you would think that you think that we would have this show inside the casino and flying over people's heads, and go to circus.
That's great.
See people.
That's great. Is that yours? You got it?
Yeah. Right. That's what I could remember.
All right, perfect. Well, John, a little bit shorter show today, but we're going to end with a couple of questions from some listeners. Good. Jesse from Twitter. Will concierge be able to plan, attend, and be available to run with a bachelor party? Well, I'll field this one first. John and I have been out of the business for a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, back when we were concierge, the answer would be for us at least, it would be a qualified yes. Because there's a couple of problems, Jesse. The number one problem is that the casino, the hotel, the corporation, I guess I'll say, is unable to insure us outside the area of the casino.
Yeah.
Property. But so when we left the property, we weren't insured. So that's the general problem. However, they would let us go for brief moments to help with things. I went to the Las Vegas sign one time to help somebody. And of course, we've talked about me going to Walmart for a nightgown.
That was great. Nice choice you made there. I'm glad you went with the lime green.
The vast selection of Walmart. But nowadays, honestly, I would have to consult, and Jesse, I will. I'll send a Twitter message to you. But I'll have to consult with a current concierge. I'm going to have to say no. They would have to plan it 100% and then give you the plan.
Unless it was in the hotel. Now, we didn't have a case. Right. I remember, I didn't work on this, but it was one of our colleagues. And this guy had a shitload of money, and he was spending a lot. So that also, I think the concierge could have come in on his day off because of the amount of tip he was getting. Right. But I know that they had scheduled, sushi on a naked woman, and where it was placed on her, which a restaurant, but for hygienic reasons, can't do. Right. But they could have a private room in the back if it's cordoned off or whatever. He arranged all that. So yeah, the amount, it was pretty much a whole weekend that he was there. So it could have been, since I didn't see him at the desk, that was not sanctioned necessarily by the hotel. Because as we talked about, we were basically the fast food industry of, in the hotel, we were concierge, but it was high volume. So again, we used to say we had the vest, the gold vest, and the nice suit, and hey, where's my paper hat? Right. Because it was more like next, or, grab a number like at the butcher shop. Right. Because, we don't really have the luxury of doing that. There are a few times, we arrange rooms and stuff. Yeah. It might take us a half an hour, 20 minutes. Right. But we did that because somebody greased our palm pretty well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, there you go, Jesse. I hope that answers your question. And, don't shy away from using a concierge because of that, but probably won't be able to attend all the functions. Now, they may be able to find somebody who can. Yeah. And an organizer of some kind like that. Yeah, I think so. Next, we have Luke off of WordPress. Very brief statement. Spontaneous or planned, how to do LV? Well, our recent discussions of Disneyland, Disney World, and anything like that, absolutely planned. Absolutely, yeah. I know that kind of probably rubs other individuals wrong. They want to come here and just be wild and go with the flow, and you can certainly do that. But unfortunately, because of the crowds that we welcome here in Las Vegas and the popularity of the things still here in Las Vegas, the restaurants, the shows, even the esports arenas, it is not advisable to come here without a plan. Yeah, even if your plan is to do that, I'm not going to have a plan. Right. But yeah, you have to be cognizant of we're going to get convention groups coming in, and some are going to be a little more fun loving than others. Yeah. So find out which ones are in. Yeah. Do that in advance so you can find out. Hey, I'm gonna crowd serve. Pick the things that are most important to you. Make sure to make reservations. Lock those in, and then make a portion of your trip spontaneous. Gambling, of course, you can be spontaneous, and the things you can't are shows. Really popular restaurants, any restaurant really. If a restaurant takes a reservation, make that reservation, and use a concierge. It's easier, generally speaking. And then nightclubs. Don't be if you're a guy, don't be spontaneous with nightclubs. No. Because if you're not a hot chick, 4 hot chicks, it's hard to get in still. Yeah. Now, if you're just going to drink, again, even have a plan. Where am I going to start? Where am I going to end? Right. Because if you really are planning on getting shit faced, where are you staying? And you don't want to be too far away from it. Now, granted, there's so many places that you don't have to even leave the hotel, and you could actually pub crawl in the hotel, right? I mean, there's so many places. Unlike other places, they got a coffee shop, they got a bar, and that's it. Yeah. But no, here you can do that. But just have an idea where you want to start. Yeah. Or a place that gives you a good feel to it, and at some point you're going to want to eat something to soak up that alcohol. Yeah, and always, you don't have to do it in advance necessarily, but it's better to do that. Always plan your transportation, whether it's a monorail or ride share or cab. Make sure you got a way home, because if you're going to have a few, and you're not going to be firing on all cylinders, you want to make it home safely. Yeah, that's what makes it nice also about, if you're staying on the Strip, is that everything is pretty well self-contained. It's only really, how far is it from Stratosphere to Mandalay Bay? What, 2 ends, a couple miles. Yeah, a couple miles. So most of the action is going to happen in between there. Particularly now that with the Stardust going down, the Riviera, the Sahara, there's really no reason to really go down that far. Yeah. So really kind of the Strip starts now. It ends at the north end really with the Wynn. kind of, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, generally speaking. I mean, some people even cut that off and started at TI, at the Treasure Island.
That's right.
But you're right. You know, and downtown is a destination.
Yeah.
You know, you plan on going down there and seeing what you see, and then you come back.
And also in terms of the bars and in the hotels, it could be that some of the places, the drinks aren't going to be cheap. And you're gonna be broke before you're drunk. You know? Right. You know, I mean, it was for when we were in our heyday. You know, we ate for free, we drank for free, and it was wonderful. But you know, you're looking at a solid because of all the craft cocktails that are happening. You're looking at, you know, you're starting at 8. And you will not be surprised by seeing 15s and 20s for drinks. Yeah. One drink. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, be prepared.
Yeah, the old days, I remember going, you know, to Sam's Town, which, you know, is more of a country atmosphere there. I don't care, but hey, it's $5 beer.
There you go.
You know, for happy hour, and happy hour was extended. Great, but of course, Sam's Town's off strip.
Yeah, way off strip. Yeah. Although I have to say, the musical and animatronic performance in the center of the hotel
is nice.
It's great.
Yeah, it is nice.
It's fun. It's wonderful. It's a lot like the Caesars performance. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned Wynn. A couple of things I want to get your opinion on. Mr. Wynn, Steve, recently sold his interest, and he again, a shrewd business person, always has been. Yeah, $900 million, I think. He's amazing. But he made mention, along with the corporate officers, the new ones of the Wynn, that Macau had clicked down in revenue. That's all they said. Little, you know, tiny click, and the stocks dropped significantly.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wanted to get your opinion on that. Do you think they're going to do better, worse, the same with Steve gone? What do you think? You think he was a driving force, an influence in their success?
Well, I don't see anything innovative from Wynn, really, when you think about, yes, he came out with originally the Treasure Island and Mirage, great. And then Bellagio, he stepped it up. Yeah. But then, you know, he sold all that, and he bought the Desert Inn, tore it down, and built the Wynn, which is another high-end hotel. And all he does is, I'm going to do another high-end, right? He bought the land across from the Wynn, what used to be Westward Ho.
Yes.
Right? And he's going to build something there. Again, it's all high-end. So there's really nothing innovative or new coming out of this guy. Yeah. It's you know, it's just like, you know, instead of the new iPhone, instead of something completely new, it's just another version of it, right? Yeah. It's the iPhone 10. Well, how is it better than the 9? Well, it's got it's got a little better camera. But it has a camera. The old one had a camera too. That was really good.
Pretty good. You know? Yeah. That's funny you mentioned that, because the iPhone XR just released.
Yeah, they come out. So he said, okay, but we need something different than the phone, you know, or whatever. Yeah. Different design of some kind. But that's not what we're getting from Wynn. So no, I don't really see that. They're just going to run. He's just running with the same ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? I agree with you. And lastly, what do you think about the? It's no longer a murmur. It's right there on the table. Caesars and MGM merging. What do you think about that?
Oh wow! I assume then this is this who's going to be?
MGM will be the.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Boy.
Controlling interest. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, MGM. They've got.
Now I'm going to interrupt you. I think, whereas I think you're right about the Wynn, Steve leaving isn't going to be bad or good. I think MGM honestly became that anonymous corporation when Kerkorian died.
Yes.
I think he added something.
Yeah, he did.
Kerkorian. Yeah. If people don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see the diversity, at least of ownership, because then you form a monopoly. Then when one or just you really only have a couple of owners now. In the past, even when we started, right, we had Adelson had the Venetian, you had Harrah's, and then you had Wynn owned the Bellagio at that time. You had the MGM, and then they all started to consolidate, and even Circus outside Mandalay Bay. And that's all now part of MGM.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically going to be down to, it'll be MGM Resorts International, if they then umbrella Caesars, the Boyd Group, and Station Casinos, And then, of course, old Shelley.
Old Shelley.
With his finger in the air in the middle of the strip.
Yeah, and then the winds.
Yeah,
right?
the winds.
Yeah. Well, as long as they don't mess with Caesars, because again, it's really one of the old-fashioned. I mean, it's been there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the anchor.
It has.
The Flamingos kind of seen better days. I mean, it's old. The same with the Trop. We know they're kind of lower end ones, but but Caesars is always, they renovated. They've always been kind of on the front end.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to us all these episodes. We really do appreciate it. Again, check out our friends over there at CWOdesigns.com. They're going to have some new releases for the holidays, and also their photography is really great. So check those guys out, CWOdesigns.com. Again, we're going to be on a brief hiatus. A new episode will come out on December 3rd. We wish everybody a wonderful, safe, and happy Thanksgiving holiday. And we absolutely hope you find your peace out there. John, thank you.
Thank you, Jamey.
And for John, this is Jamey, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks to everyone listening and watching. You can catch the Pod Bay Door on the Podbean app or any of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher Radio. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast. Please download, like, and subscribe. Our social connectivity screen is coming up. Check in with us on Facebook, Twitter, and WordPress. The Pod Bay Door is closed and talent is out. Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.